Hi, I'm Isadora, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about Supernatural Season 3. Now, I got a whole Supernatural playlist, starting with, does Season 1 of Supernatural hold up 20 years later? On this channel, I'm doing a lot of random shit, honestly. I'm doing, a know-by-year. I talk about spooky media. I'm doing, what I eat in a day style vlog type things. Anyway, if you're into any of that, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe and hang out with me. So I've already gone into the first 2 seasons of Supernatural. This is 3, so if you didn't catch them, my whole Supernatural playlist is down there. Anyway, let's get into it. So in season 3, there's only 16 episodes, but I feel like so much happens in those episodes, and there's so much iconic shit within only these 16 episodes. So and I feel like there were certain things I complained about at the end of season 2 which were directly addressed in an incredibly meta way by the writers, which I super appreciate. I thought it was super cool. I did have some pretty strong criticisms at the end of season 2 relating especially to anti-black stereotypes in the characters, and how I felt pretty much there were no recurring female characters that had their own free will. Because we do see demons inhabiting little girls and women's bodies, but we don't really see that many women with their own free will in the first 2 seasons. But I feel like the writers, I know it's impossible because I'm watching this 19 years later and whatever, but I bet these were even common complaints within the fandom at the time, and they heard everyone's complaints and were here you bitches go. But I try not to look at external reviews and think pieces and whatever. This is just all my own possibly shitty opinions. Anyway, so I complained at the end of season 2 that I wasn't really that invested in the plot with all the demons that escaped when they opened Samuel Colt's tomb and whatever, and I was alright, I could see that they did that so we have more show coming, but I didn't really care that much. Honestly, they start rolling out more and more demons in season 2, and they're cool. There's some cool concepts. They won me back, so complaint uncomplainted, redirect to sender. So we start, they throw us right in there with hunting down the 7 deadly sins, which is a dope fucking concept. Hell yeah, brother. Yeah, so one big thing in terms of anti-black stereotypes that I complained about, I was all of the recurring, again, we do have some characters who will show up in one episode, or they're there for 4 minutes and then they get murdered and stuff like that. When I was complaining about stereotypes and different things, I was talking purely about recurring black and recurring female characters. But we open up this season with a loving black hunter couple who doesn't really comply with any of the stereotypes I was complaining about. Again, it was one of those things where I know it's not possible, but it almost seems like they heard me directly bitching and were here you go, we know what we're doing. So on top of them, especially a lot of black male characters just having having all those old stereotypes of just being super angry, super physical, super aggressive, literally super strong, which again, the super strength of the black man, that goes back to how black people were talked about during slavery, even as people who not even people, as creatures who don't really feel pain in the same way that white people do. Stuff like that. These are just things I notice when I'm watching media. I think it's important to be critical of what you watch, even though I really love Supernatural. I'm excited to watch the whole rest of it, honestly. But I feel they we do see kind of a more expansion of the world, and we get a recurring female character with her own free will for the first time. That's fun to see, in the form of Bella Talbot. I'll get more into her later. I try not to, again, read external opinions and sources before I give my own, but I did come across some headlines about how fans hated Bella. I don't hate Bella. Controversial opinion. Then I'm a little bit more into the individual episodes. There's one called The Kids Are All Right, where the monsters are changelings. Changelings are essentially like creatures that like take the form of people's children and then suck the life out of them. That really freaked me out. One, because I'm scared of like even human children. Like I don't really, that shit freaks me out. Children as monsters literally sucking the soul out of their mothers. Ugh. Like that's what normal kids do. Anyway. And the kids are alright. It was very heartbreaking. In it, they kind of tease you with the fact that like Dean might have a son. It turns out, according to the mom, that's not his kid, but like the kid is genuinely a carbon copy of him, and you see Dean kind of become excited and emotional at the prospect of having a child, only to find out it's not his. That shit hurt. I feel like this show is specifically only constantly torturing Dean. Then we got into the episode Bad Day at Black Rock. That's essentially, there's like a cursed rabbit's foot that was stolen from like one of their dad's storage facilities. And, it's a hilarious episode. I really love it. I feel like Supernatural's at its best when it blends elements of multiple things. So we have like family drama, we have like supernatural horror, we have comedy, like thrillers, mysteries. Like it's just such an expert blend of like all of the genres at once, and it's beautiful to behold, quite frankly. I really like when they have like the funnier or more ridiculous episodes, because so much heavy and dark stuff happens, and I think you really need those like comedic beats to mix things up to like keep your brain invested instead of becoming fatigued. Another episode I really enjoyed was Malleus Maleficarum, where we learn more about how witches function in the universe, and we learn more about the backstory of the demon Ruby. Sometimes I feel like in the show, when they execute character backstories, it really adds a lot and makes the universe a lot richer. Sometimes when they execute character backstories, it's not good. We're gonna get into that too. Yeah, and through watching Mystery Spot and Dream a Little Dream of Me, that's just watching Dean constantly get fucking tortured. Like, that man goes through so much. So Mystery Spot is one of the most iconic episodes in the entire Supernatural universe. That's the one where Dean dies like 87,000 times. I really respect them for doing that, because one of my critiques coming out of season 2, I'm like, both Winchester brothers have already died 86 times, so it's really it seems kind of goofy and like lazy from a writing standpoint, and it loses the drama when you know that like they're never gonna die anyway, so there's no fucking point. But like within Mystery Spot, so if there were those critiques within the fandom that like the brothers died too much and it's dumb for them to make an episode where the whole plot is that one of the brothers dies 86 times and have it be like poignant. Incredible writing, super funny. A lot of respect, honestly. So over the course of season 3, again, it's only 16 episodes long, but we lose so many recurring secondary characters. We lose Bella Talbot, Gordon Walker, and Agent Henriksen. Now, in the last season, I complained that Agent Henriksen just seemed kind of like the textbook, like, annoying law guy getting in the way, and again, falling into those stereotypes, and like anti-black stereotypes of like a black man being like super angry, super off the hook, like super rude to everybody, like very aggro. But in this season, we actually see him get developed more like as a character, which I really like to see, but then he dies. But anyway, we get rid of him, and we got rid of Gordon Walker. Gordon Walker's arc throughout the show is like super fascinating. Like to see him start off as somebody who thinks that like all vampires are 100% evil, to then like becoming what he hates most and then dying. His obsession with Sam as like the Antichrist is super interesting as well. Like over like how like it's just very interesting. I feel like we're kind of like setting Sam up as like being chosen by hell, essentially, which is like very interesting, and how things are gonna unfold. Like, how are they gonna handle that? Like, what's gonna happen? I don't know. And we see the death of Bella Talbot as well. Now, again, like, I saw some headlines about how people really didn't like Bella Talbot. I thought she was like a fun character. One, she was the first female character with agency, we see like explored in a recurring manner. And I think she was a fun foil for the Winchesters. Like, we're already dealing with this universe where it's become incredibly clear that like they're both gonna die 87 times and it doesn't matter. I think you need like good villains and good foils to make things interesting when we're already clearly seeing that like death itself is not a foil for them. Like, you need the narrative tension, you need there to be some stakes, otherwise it's just super boring. So in like kind of like a narrative structure way, I kind of like seeing her be a genuine foil to them, being interesting, having her own motives, and like, you know, they kind of set her up as like the ultimate like bad and immoral person, but you see almost everybody in this universe has done like absolutely horrible things. And something we kind of are setting up through the seasons, at least in my opinion, is that like the line between monster and human, morality and immorality, these are not harsh lines, like they're thin. So like, even though she's being set up as kind of like the most evil person ever, I'm like, I think that's good. Like, I like seeing the Winchester brothers like be genuinely challenged by like a worthy opponent to them. Like, it's not fun if they just show up all the time, everything's easy for them, they don't struggle, and like they're the smartest person in the room all the time. Like, that shit just gets kind of boring in my opinion. So I enjoyed her as a foil, but I really did not like the backstory they gave her. For one, like, her whole thing where she's another character who's made a deal with the Crossroads Demon. What's this, like the 87th fucking Crossroads Demon deal in Supernatural? I got the vibe that like maybe the actress wanted to quit, or like she wasn't popular with the audience, so like they wrote a way to get rid of her instead of like having it naturally occur within like the story. Like, maybe the actress wanted to quit, maybe just like audiences didn't like her, like whatever. Like, so it seemed kind of forced to me, and like I'm getting kind of, you know, I love like a cleverly reused motif, but I think there's a big difference between that and like the same thing happening 86 times because it feels like the writers are just trying to like wrap something up, or they don't know what else to do at this point. Which, like, if you remember what happened in the show, you might be laughing at my ass hearing me say this, but like, how many more fucking demon deals are we gonna get? Like, how many times are you gonna reuse that plot device? Yeah, my next note is that throughout season 3, I feel like we're really coming to that place where like it doesn't feel like a clever repetition of motifs, and it just feels like writers repeating shit over and over and over again, which like, if we're only in season 3 and I'm starting to be like, can nobody else make a demon deal? Can we stop killing Dean and Sam and having it mean nothing and have there be no stakes in the universe? Like, if I'm already there in season 3, I feel like this does not bode well for like the other 45 seasons of the show. So again, like, some things I didn't like. One thing I loved was the Ghost Facers episode. I love the Ghost Facers, especially like, I feel like in Supernatural, we really see like a writing team that like understood their audience and knew the kind of stuff that they were into, and as well as using the stuff that was popular at the time, where these days it kind of feels like random stuff is churned out by focus groups, or like made to be played in the background while you're like cooking or something. The writers team of Supernatural was like, a lot of people who watch our show, they probably also like ghost adventures and ghost hunting shows. So like, to include that into their universe is incredible. The Ghost Facers episodes was one of the funniest fucking episodes of television I've ever seen. Like, the power of gay love piercing the veil, and like, I think go pretend to be gay for that poor dead intern is like Shakespearean level shit. Like, Chaucer wishes he fucking would have. Oh man, the episode called Long Distance Call, where like there's a creature that's learned to use like modern technology to hunt victims, was super freaky and well executed. I really love that. Like, the idea of like ancient creatures using modern technology to like ensnare victims, fire, super well executed, love to see it. Then on the last 2 episodes of the season, where time is on my side, it's essentially featuring a doctor who has Frankensteined himself, and he'll like kill people and take the body parts of whoever he needs to continue living forever. super disgusting, super freaky, super well executed. But again, like, on top of that horror, the real horror is that Sam wants to, like, go and befriend this doctor so he can turn Dean into a creature like that. And it's very interesting. I feel like we initially see kind of the supernatural universe set up as like Sam is the goody two shoes and like Dean is like the bad boy or whatever. And you see over the seasons how their characters really, really develop, and Sam becomes like darker and darker and Dean becomes like more righteous, which is very interesting. Like, to set up this like dichotomy and tension between the brothers, because again, like, the real heart of the show is the relationship between them and their like family trauma. Like, all the monsters and shit, that's just like the icing, you know what I'm saying? But I think it's really cool to actually see like genuine character development and see how Dean and Sam become like better and worse are subjective, but like fundamentally different in response to their circumstances throughout the show. Super cool to see. And for me, my last note was that the last episode is No Rest for the Wicked. That's where Dean finally gets dragged to hell by the Hellhounds and like his deal is completed. But like, it feels kind of like a waste of time to me because one, by this point, you know that like these two bros, like, they're dead every Tuesday, literally. So, like, one, their deaths have no meaning, no gravitas, no, like, real stakes in the universe. Also, like, just on, like, a purely, like, there's, like, 5 more seasons of the show or something, so, like, you know he's gonna come back. So I'm like, like, I guess, like, for me, anyway, I was like, okay, but, like, what brought him back and why? So, like, that is an interesting question narratively, and I'm kind of hoping that's where they go with it. I'm pretty sure, like, wasn't the major plot point that, the angel Castiel, like, brought him back because God said so? Oh, shit. So I think what we're kind of being set up with is that, like, Sam was chosen by hell and Dean was chosen by heaven. That's cool. Anyway, this show's really cool. It does have some things that, like, kind of bother me occasionally, but, like, I can't wait. I watched this entire season while I was sitting in the Houston airport for 8 hours, and I didn't even realize I was in the airport. Like, I was thriving, so thank you, Supernatural, for all you do. Anyway, that's all I gotta say on that. Thanks for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, check out my full Supernatural playlist, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.